Welcome to Biggest Geekest. We are your hosts. I am Joe.
And I'm Randy.
This is episode 183 of our show, and the date is Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. What's up?
Not a whole bunch. So I had to rush a little bit today, but not as fast. So I got here at a reasonable time. I
would like to start out just saying rest in peace. Was it Jim Ward who died? Yeah.
Yeah. I think he had a hand in Metamorphosis Alpha, the Greyhawk Adventures hardback. He was a big D&D dude, man.
Right.
And I know at least in the first and second edition era, and I think he did some D20 stuff in the third edition era.
He's done a lot of stuff over the years.
He had some real health issues. Yeah. Good point, Patrick. Drawmage the Mage. Drawmage is instant summons.
Oh, yeah. You know, I've been a gamer for 40 some odd years, probably going close to 50 now.
Right on.
And looking at Drawmage, and I know everybody else in our level of geekdom already knows this.
Yeah.
But I never put the pieces together until just now. Looking at it, I'm like, oh, dude. Drawmage is Jim Ward backwards.
You know what? I just did too. I don't think I was. Wow, they did that all the time, man.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't one of the wizards anagram for Gygax, or yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What's up, Ungar? How you doing, brother?
Ungar, the Starvarian.
Patrick is here. Looks like Mac Thompson, as he said, he's going to be in and out. He's putting gear away and messing around in the garage. Martinson, Arnman, Flint Fire Forge. Yeah, we got a good crew tonight, man. And L, what is up, dude?
Yeah,
that is true.
Starting out salty like always.
L has made a very strong comment. Starting strong today.
Yes.
I am worthless and weak. Larry Elliott, what's shaking, bacon?
So there was been no gaming for me this past 2 weeks, I guess. This coming up Friday, though, we'll be playing online.
Yes, you non-gamer. Unlike me, I game like a madman Saturday. The Minders game was fabulous. I ran it.
How long did you play for? Half hour?
Oh, we played for about 4 and a half hours. It's a good day. We played little superhero action. They actually got to play the Fantastic Four -1. Invisible Woman had been captured by Dr. Doom, and Iron Fist took her place. So that was pretty cool.
Iron Fist took the place of the Invisible Woman?
Well, what happened is...
Fantastic Four?
Yeah, remember our Minders game?
Mm-hmm.
You get ported into different worlds. Well, they got sent to Marvel Earth 616, and they were there in the early 80s. And it went really well, Martinson just asked. We had a great time. They got to be all super, and Mr. Fantastic was super cool. All the guys, Ben Grimm was knocking tanks around.
Probably better than any of the movies have been.
For sure. It was very, very fun. So then when they got back, I had a surprise for them. And biker with a lightsaber showed up in the real world and nearly killed them, but they put him down. What's up, GM Johnny? Do I know that guy? Is he new? If you're new, welcome.
He's fairly new.
If I've forgotten you, I apologize.
So I'm old, so I may have seen his name on here and just not remembered it. On this weekend, Army.
Yeah. He attended the Pro or Con. What is that? Pro or Con Historical Con in Lubbock.
Oh, it's a historical one, not a game.
Oh, neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandy, my volume is very high according to L.
Well, you know, Randy's volume. Randy can control his own volume. I do not have a volume control on my end.
He can't
except this way. I can just do the total. I can just turn them off.
Is that enough control for you, L? But yeah, we're going to play Friday. You're going to get to see my total BA Priest Acolyte go down in the very first round of combat
Go
again.
down the first round. Oh,
Down the first round.
down in the first round.
StreamYard has volumes for all guests, is what he's saying. So I'm just being. Tell me this. What's this like? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I guess no, I cannot edit his volume. It has a control there.
Does it? Is it somewhere near me? Mike Avatar. I don't see it.
I mean, you, Randy, do.
I can control it. I can control it on my computer. So I don't see it anywhere. It doesn't.
Yeah. So when you have the little window at the bottom,
Yeah.
that shows you.
Yep.
There's the mic icon, and there's the 3-button deal next to it.
Yeah, I see that.
Edit mic settings, and you should have a slider at the bottom that says mic volume.
It says edit name, edit audio avatar, and stop mic cam. That's all it say. Yours says edit mic settings.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm. Max says everything was fine. So let's just say it's L's problem.
Yeah. We can do that.
Ultra American TTRPGer, he's in the house. Greetings, brother.
So right before we get into our stuff, I was scrolling through Twitter because Randy has a Twitter link in here.
Yeah, baby.
And I saw another post. Apparently, folks are talking about the wheelchair thing again. And
let it go, dude. Who
yeah. You know, there was a thread about something kind of sort of related. And someone said DMs must provide reasonable accommodations for the players at their table. And somehow that got into the game itself.
Okay.
And you know, that's ADA language, and that doesn't really belong anywhere at the game table unless that's what you guys want to do.
If I could, this is from Frozen, I think. Let it go. Let it go.
Yeah. If you as a DM want to have magical wheelchairs in your game, that's fine. It's dumb because everybody can get healed at some point in the campaign, unless you don't get that high level. If you're OSR, you'll never get high enough level to have a restoration magic or anything that will heal your body to where you can walk. So, but most OSR folks I listen to or have listened to, they're not interested in that anyway. So,
yeah, I don't even know, man.
It's weird. You know, they talk about representation and stuff in the thread, and I'm like, whatever.
Got to see myself in my... Look, I don't want to go down that. I don't care. It's a rabbit hole. You do what you want, but you're not telling me what to do. I don't have to make accommodations for anybody.
The biggest thing was the DM must provide, and I was like, no. The DM must. You even stop there. Must. You know, not from the point of view of somebody else telling the DM what they must do. As you as a DM, you have things in your head that you feel you must do, and if that's something that you feel you must do, fine. But nobody outside your noggin should be telling you what.
And the player doesn't like what the DM's doing. He's got the ultimate vote.
There, you know, in any friendly group, any friendly group of people who are doing a social thing like D&D at the table, there's going to be a little bit of give and take there because that's the way we as people work. But when it comes down to it, it's the DM's table, and that's, you know, all there is to it.
Flint says this: are they talking in game or just space at the table? Yes,
both.
They are all the time.
But primarily, they were talking about accommodating people at your table, and like the guy who is the con, you know, for the argument was saying, you know, I have a sensitivity to bright light, but I'm not going to make everybody at the table sit in a dim room. I'll just put on sunglasses.
Look,
it'll be a little awkward, but that's what I'll do. I'm not going to make everybody do that. And then some folks started talking about reasonable accommodations.
Joe and I are not hard asses. if I see somebody, if they're, as long as they're not saying, Randy, you have to do this for me, I'll be a normal person,
Yeah.
right? I can just talk. We can talk to each other. Hey, man, light's really bright. Can you turn it down? I probably would.
Yeah.
Someone else says I can't read it. Well, I got to turn it back up. Why don't you wear sunglasses? I mean, be people.
Or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Be people to each other. Don't get butthurt. Well, I don't see a wheelchair bound black lesbian in this game. No, you don't. You want to play one? Go ahead. But you know what? There may not be a wheelchair for you. You may just be laying around. I don't know. It's silly. It's silly to me. But whatever. That's a weird discussion. People try to push all that crap in the hobby, and they've done a pretty good job of getting that crap into D&D. So, and some other games.
Yeah, I just thought I would.
Yeah, thought you'd stir the pot.
Stir the pot a little. Anyway, so you guys didn't come here today to hear us talk about stuff that we all here in the chat and me and Randy pretty much agree with. It's all dumb crap. Let's talk about something else. Magic items. Oh, Randy doesn't have magic items in this game, so I don't know why we're talking about them.
Well, I'm thinking I might put one magic item in Mud Sword.
So then you should say magic item.
Yeah.
Instead of it being plural.
Yeah. Yeah, well, what are they good for, really? And Joe loves this phraseology. What should they do?
They should do what you want them to do in your game as a DM. And what fits within the system.
Eric, I hope I say your name right. DeSmet, welcome. As a DM, I hate magic items. As a player, I love them. Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Well, the thing is, when you gain experience points, your powers go up.
Yes.
Right? You go on an adventure, you defeat the opponents, you defeat the enemy, you gather experience points, and your level goes up, and your powers go up a little, depending on how many levels you get. Magic items are an addition to that outside of the XP. And right. I don't know that
they're a reward, is what you're saying.
They're a reward. They're a reward.
I think that's true. That's a good definition.
Something that you gain for defeating tough enemies or solving difficult puzzles. Though I would always, depending on the level of power on a magic item, I would always have some. If it's a powerful magic item, death should be on the table before you get that thing.
I've always thought that too. I mean, if it's a powerful weapon like, I don't know, a +1 sword, death should definitely be on the table.
Now, sometimes you can give it out. Like, say the king says, "Hey, I'm going to send you on this really dangerous mission. Here's the thing." Okay, you don't necessarily have to face the danger beforehand, but you're definitely going to face it afterwards. You're going to take your butt over to that dangerous situation and risk your character's going to risk their life. So, but it's kind of outside of the power curve of just what normal experience gaining does for your character. So it's hard to factor in sometimes on the challenge.
3rd edition tried to do that. Tried to think they could keep track of that. Before I jump down that, I want to jump down that rabbit hole. Ultra American TTRPGer says, if GMs hate magic items, why is there such a push for GMs to give them to their players? I don't know. I don't push it at all.
The push is from the player side. I don't know why. I kind of know why DMs hate magic items. Mainly because a lot of times it's because of them that their finely laid plans get screwed over.
That's probably somewhere deep inside my
I mean, and I can understand that.
Well, because especially in D&D, magic items often in the early days, they did things you could not duplicate with normal spells and things.
Right.
Like the iron. What were those ones that they were little rods, immovable
rods.
You could climb up, right? If you had 3 or 4 of them, you could climb up the side of a mountain.
Oh, you technically need her too, and you can climb anywhere.
Well, because you could put. I guess you have to be a pretty strong upper body.
As long as there's no real way to do 4 as a ladder. That would really be awkward trying to replace the ones on your feet.
Even 3 could be weird. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair
enough. 2, if you're strong, like 13 strength or better, it shouldn't be too awful.
Yeah. Unless you're fat like me, then it's hard to get your butt up. But They don't have now. In third edition, one of the problems I thought magic items had is they enhance players' abilities too directly, and you couldn't always account for the synergies. I remember a lot of discussion about magic items. I don't really want that kind of weapon. It doesn't really work with my feet. I'm trying to get a ghost touch sword that will do
this is
this.
third edition. This is the third edition discussion.
Yeah.
In first and second edition, we loved all the magic items.
Yeah, because you just like, I'll take whatever you give me because they're generally pretty different. You had your +1s, right? +1 sword, +1 ring of protection. Were there cloaks of protection in first edition? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think so.
Rings, original
you had ring
D&D,
of protection. I think you had both.
I feel like
it's been a while.
I think the rings of protection, at least in OD&D and basic, I think they gave you +1 to your AC and to your saving throws. Yeah. Oh, Flint, a man after. This is actually true. Joe doesn't believe me anymore. Flint Fireforce says, sometimes I have them. I just forget to hand them out. Yeah. I'm looking right at them like they're right in the book. I forgot to put them in my adventure.
Yeah. That's where you forget.
Patrick says he only thinks magic items become a problem when the characters become Christmas trees. There was the Christmas tree effect, but that was more than just the sheer number. It was, if you get so many, especially I'm talking about third, I think it would throw the power of the characters out of whack. I actually think I prefer, not that magic items can enhance what you do. If you get a magic battle axe, here you go. Armin says a player lost his magic battle axe to an ochre jelly in our game last night. Good job, Armin. Way to get rid of that magic item. It doesn't need to be there. He was relying on it way too much. And no, but if you, and I am joking, sort of. But anyway, if it enhances your abilities, too much synergy, that's when you get issues, right?
Right.
I think if
in
it
third
does,
edition, it was really bad in third edition because of stat boosting items, and then having the different slots, and every slot, you had a lot of magic items that were tied to a slot, and they did a specific thing, so people felt that they needed to have all their slots covered.
Oh man, I'd like to have a cloak with the bat, but we just got a +3 cloak of protection, and I really need the saving throws, so I'm going to do that. Let that be my cloak slot. I'll never get to wear the cloak with the bat, so somebody else takes it, which is fine. But eventually, everybody gets a cloak protection +2, and you're like, that's how third was. It seemed like, especially when you did if you use the magic item economy in the markets.
Yeah, the idea of a standard set of magic items is kind of weird.
It's. I won't say it's bad. I just say it's not what I want. I would like magic items to stay magical. So I would like to see them do things like they did in first and second and basic, which often were things like the apparatus of Kowalish. Now, I think, was that an artifact maybe, though? Might have been. Get inside that little crab-like wooden crab.
Oh, apparatus of Kowalish.
Yeah, remember? Had all these levers and they could do different things and go in the water.
There's also the Machine of Lumnamad.
That's an artifact.
Yeah.
Sure. But I'd like to see magic items do things that many times what the players can't do. I don't mind if a sword boosts up a fighter's ability to attack. I don't mind if armor makes your defense go up. I don't mind if a scroll powers up a wizard's spell somehow or gives him access to a spell in D&D terms. Yes, Killraven, you're going to get no argument from us. He says, I'll say the magic item and Christmas tree in 3 point. Yeah, it was not fun because players were like acting like, well, if you don't have this and this by the time you're level 14, you can't do this, this, and this. I say bull crap on that. You ain't got it. That just means some creatures are going to be tougher for you. If you don't have a +2 sword, you may not want to go after a sword that needs a +3, has +3 or 50 points of damage taken DR on it. That's maybe not be the way you want to go. Or if you do, be prepared to handle it some other way.
I mean, they should be glad that in third edition that you could actually damage creatures with other weapons.
Yeah, that's a big improvement.
Earlier editions was immune to anything that's not magic, or must have +2 weapon or better to effect.
Elle asked about the cartoon items. He's talking about the D&D cartoon, Hank's bow, Presto's hat.
Presto's hat was crap.
Not Sue. If you just made it a hat of wonder, it'd be fun, but it's a little worse than that. Now, what was her name? Diana? She was the acrobat. Who was the little redhead chick, Bobby's sister?
I don't remember all the names.
I loved them, Elle. I love those magic items.
Yeah, and you especially liked the hat because it never worked right.
That's the magic item I'd
Or,
give
oh,
Chose. Sheila. Thank you, El. Sheila's thief.
oh, Sheila.
Those are cool. Deep down in my heart, and this is what I've talked about it a lot, I would rather see magic items enhance characters in interesting ways and maybe in amazing ways, but not necessarily in perfect sync or synergy with their abilities. Then things get just out of hand. I mean, if you give a fighter a sword that can teleport 3 times a day and is +5 to hit and lets him turn invisibility at 3rd level, he goes from being maybe the toughest dude in the party, because he's got hit points, to no doubt he's the king of all things.
Oh, he's not just the toughest dude in the party; he's the toughest dude in town.
Correct, and
maybe in his region.
And if you want him to have a good fight, you're going to end up killing the rest of the party, and you'll probably kill him eventually.
He'll still be a class cannon.
Yeah, he will, because if you put him up against something big, he better get the initiative. He better kill it quick, because when it goes, his 35 hit points may not be enough to survive. Right. But I don't mind that. I mean, I'm reminded of 2nd edition when I gave a 4th level fighter a +3 Frostbrand, which was +6 against. Frostbrand. So it was +6 against fire creatures. Yeah, you're right, Elle. It is your own fault. It was really awesome, but eventually it became his calling. He never would change that weapon out and he made it to like 15th or 16th level, and he had opportunities to get other sword. He's like, no, this is my sword. And I almost would like to see a character get an item early that is powerful, and they love it so much they don't want to get rid of it, rather than the constant slight exchange for one more extra plus or one more this or that. Do you think magic items? What do you think about intelligent magic items? Should
they
those
can be
exist?
fun?
They can be.
They can be fun. It depends on the kind of personality you give the weapon or the item, and there's an audiobook I listened to a while back, and in it, the fella had an axe, no, a hammer, and it was a non-magical item that couldn't affect anything, but it was intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
He finally was able to use it to hurt things later in the story, but the personality on the item was what made it cool.
Sure.
At first, the personality in the item hated the owner of it, mainly because he was a magic user and he wanted. Sure. He was like, "Why aren't you a warrior? That's much better." And so they had issues about that, and a lot of friction, and he had to balance. He had to the sword or the item, the hammer, whatever it was, could get lippy around people who didn't understand that it was possible for there to be a talking magic item, and they're like, "Who's that talking?" And the guy was like, he had to kind of talk low and have a low volume conversation with the sword, and people thought he was weird because who's he talking to? Right? And then there was a female character who this item insisted loved him.
Okay.
So there was this back and forth, like she likes me better than she likes you, kind of stuff. So you could have an interesting personality, like an NPC, in that magic sword or magic staff or whatever, and you can play it up. It doesn't have to be the comedy. It doesn't have to be comic relief, but yes,
acts of nagging.
And so, like they used to have the singing sword, or you have to figure out whether the weapon, how its alignment. So if you're a good guy and the alignment on your weapon is evil,
yep, you take
or
a level
maybe
up.
even neutral, you could have issues in discussions. They may not even want you to use it.
I think in one version of D&D, you'd lose a level for even wielding it.
Right.
If it had a different. Flynn asked a good question too about magic items, and well, I mean, intelligence magic items are I think they're always before I get to, we got a couple from Flynn I want to mention, but before I get to it, I think intelligent magic items you can do well. As a DM, you can have one that's annoying but effective. You can have one that's really nice and cool and a good item, but maybe he's a coward. What if the magic item controls its powers? I mean, if the magic item can go so far as to like, I don't like you, I'm a normal sword for you. I won't give
Right.
you any magical abilities at all. But if you let the characters control at least the +1 and the +2 part in D&D parlance,
Mm-hmm.
or if you let the player sort of force it to do its things because they know the magic keywords, then you could build up some enmity between the entity that's in the sword or its own psyche and the character. And if you bring in that up, like in D&D, it was kind of like an ego comparison, and that if you got beat down after a while, the sword could possibly take you over. If you had a mechanic like that, it could be interesting. I think it's more fun to let the players control the powers as much as possible if you're going to have a sword that's going to be antagonistic or problematic in some way, be annoying or nagging.
Yeah. But that could be something you develop over time and maybe work out. But the character had a sheath or a loop on his belt where he could have the item hanging on. And if he got too lippy, you normally would just have him on the loop. But if he got lippy, he put him in the sheath and it shut him up. And he hated it.
Flint, a few minutes ago, posted this. He said, do you think movies, TV feed the magic item craze? I want a thing like so-and-so. Oh, God, I saw a lot of that back in the day. And then he followed that up with, at Chicago 67, but before movies and media, people wanted stuff that characters had in books. Elric's sword. Yeah, Stormbringer was popular.
Sure.
And they answered that with Black Razor.
Black Razor, yeah.
But
before even all that, there were the modules.
Yep.
The Gygax written modules, and whoever else, they all had kind of a...
Be right back, hold on.
They had a bunch of modules back in the day that were chock full of magic items, and a lot of them powerful. And you clear out that module, and your whole party's decked out. And if you go through like White Plume Mountain and Lost Caverns and the Giant series and a couple of other ones, if you did all of those, you would have more magic items in your party than 10 parties could ever use.
Yeah. You're talking about some of the big ones like against the Giants, Temple of Elemental Evil. You could get loaded down with stuff.
Loaded down. And this was way before any of this stuff could have affected the game. So where it came from was the fact that the game itself possessed all of these things that your character could potentially have.
Right.
And when the characters learned what they could do, they're like, I want that and that and that and that, because it made the character more powerful.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand the player's perspective. I read a really cool book, like, wasn't there actually a sword called the Sword of Truth in the Sword of Truth series?
Yeah.
And a black and white, was it a black and white blade? One side was good or something like that? Or how did that work?
That might have been a different sword.
A different one, okay.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, I can imagine someone reading it and go, man, I'd love to have Glamdring. That's a great weapon from Lord of the Rings. And sometimes you can emulate that and it's not a huge deal. Other time, I don't know. Oh, Elle makes a good point here. There's probably a little bit of truth to this about what you said. Gary had 30 players in and out. Modules are not the epitome of the game.
They don't. It doesn't matter whether it's the epitome of the game.
It just is. Yeah.
Opinion. Lots of people that I played D&D with and talked with, we all played through those modules.
Yep. And they were costly. What's up, Lady?
And it's a big part of the zeitgeist of our generation of gamers.
An absolute large percentage of us can say Temple, and they'll think Temple of Elemental Evil against the Giants, Hamlet.
And they have kind of an effect on GMs and DMs over the years, and they're like, this is the pattern. There's a pattern of making your adventures, and then you do it like that. You know, I'm not saying it's everybody, and it may not even be half, but it's a pretty big chunk of players. So saying it's not, modules are not the epitome of the game is a non sequitur, in my opinion.
Yeah. Larry Elliott, I want a magic item that finds all treasure Randy puts in the game. Oh, wait, that would be a useless magic item. So, Larry, you may have that. I will put that in for you. Oh, Flint's got it. Man, Flint's on fire tonight. He says, I wonder if you read through Appendix N, the books by Gary Gygax, DM guide in the back, read how much did Magic Items play in Jack Vance's books?
Well, there wasn't maybe the volume, but what they did have was very wondrous items that did very powerful things.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
I have no idea what
I have no idea. I've only read one. I've read the Dying Earth book. I think there's lots of others. So it's been a long time since I've read it. I don't remember the magic items. What about how they're found in a game? I mean,
well, we've talked about a few of those things. You find them on adventures.
Yep.
You get them as gifts from NPCs one way or the other for doing something for you or for getting ready to do something for you.
I didn't do that much in the early days. I wouldn't have NPCs, even the quest givers, say, here's a magic item for doing this adventure.
Right.
I've done it more recently, especially with the way 13th Age likes to reward magic items on the front end of the adventure.
Right.
Take this sword and then complete this or that. That's not bad. I'm not much for purchasing magic items, though. Like I think I've said before, I'm good with minor scrolls and potions being able to be purchased. But outside of that, I'm not saying it would be impossible, but it's just not something I want to. I wouldn't want a thriving magic item market somehow. Now, in my world, there's little to no danger of that. But even in a game I'm playing in, I don't like going to. I'm going to go purchase a bunch of magic items today. That's just kind of weird.
The magic shop is an idea that I remember there being a couple of articles in Dragon way back.
Yeah, way back in the day. It's not new.
And not very widely implemented by game masters or dungeon masters, as far as I know, back in the day. But they became a staple in video games, and then ended up bleeding back into the hobby. And as far as I can tell, it seems like that's how it probably happened. But as a concept, you didn't see magic items being sold. Like if someone had anything published, the most you would see are potions and scrolls, right? Or you would have an individual who had items in a published setting or in a module or something like that, but there would be no talk about how much any of that was worth or how much they would sell those things for.
Yeah. David Gwill says at me, I wouldn't have a magic item shop. Maybe you could commission something through a lengthy and expensive process. Yeah, I was always down with that idea because that leads to more adventure. I mean, Joe wanted his, way back in the day. What was that? Your Wizard Blade? Remember that from the Dragon magazine? Yeah, right. I mean, it'd be fun to make him go through a whole bunch of adventures and finally get this super awesome sword. That'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible. Killraven says this. He goes, within the context of a high fantasy D&D world, it does make sense for certain lower tier of utility items to be somewhat common, just to make sense of why certain monsters aren't just taking over. Maybe. Have to be really low. I don't want to see, a bunch of, I don't want to see plus ones. I don't know. Okay. I guess in a big city, maybe you could have a plus one sword
right.
somewhere.
It makes sense from just the point of view of, especially if there's more adventurers in the game world that the particular DM is running than PCs, right? So if there's a bunch of adventurers and the PCs are among the masses of adventurers, if there's masses of them, and there are magic items to be had by all these folks, and hey, when I started my career, I had a plus one sword, but I went over here and I found a better one, and I don't need this one anymore. What do we do with those things?
Right.
What do the players do with those things?
Right.
And one of the ideas that players have is, well, I want to make some cash for my character. Why don't I try to find someone to sell this thing to?
Yeah. I remember early on, it was early first edition. You might have been in the military, probably were. And mid first edition for us, my cousin Shelley played with us for a while, and she got a bunch of magic items. And she was the first to hit upon the idea. She got a bunch of the party had died. Her character was the only one to live. and she'd got like 12 magic items because the party was mid-level and had several items. And she thought, I want to set up a magic item shop and sell magic items.
Right.
Yeah, that's possible. L says, Randy, how does a wizard make a magic wand without practicing enchanting? He makes a +1 sword to learn the process to enchant. Well, sure, he could. I mean, that's a justification. It's a practice at magic item. It's a minor magic item. You could use that, sure. It just depends on how prevalent you want them. And I guess I'm of two minds about it because I still have I still like the +1 item. I don't hate it, but I always want to put a little twist on it. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed in the last few years because we've not played a real consistent campaign, but when I do squeeze in a low-level magic item, I rarely just give you +1 sword. That's it. It'll have a name. It'll get, like your guy in the OSC game has a sweet mace that's +1, but it can do haste once a day. It's really incredible.
Right.
So for 10 rounds, I think it can do haste. So
for 10 rounds.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's good. It's a good item.
Mm-hmm. And that's more than a little trinket. That's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about this setup? What if you had magic items? What if wizards made magic items, of course? And what if in a world that's high magic, what if the orders of wizards were the ones that mostly, not always, adventurers went to them to gather components, do things for them, and the wizard said, hey, we will pay you in magic items. That could be a reasonable way to get a lot of magic items out there, and players could make sense to have them if that's what you wanted.
Right.
And that's another trope. That's true. We're going to get to that. I'm going to star that, Arn Man. I'm not going to comment yet, but I want to get to that. I think...
So, L thinks the mace that you gave me should be an artifact.
Well...
It has haste on it.
It is powerful. You're not fully wrong. Depending on which version of the game you have.
In a game that only goes to 3rd level, yeah.
Yeah, it would be an artifact. But Joe is 4th. I think you guys are 5th level now.
Yeah.
We haven't played in a while, and you're a cleric, so I'm not too worried.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. It's powerful. That's more than a trinket. That was not the best example. That was one because it's got other things too. So
no, it's not infinite.
Not infinite. No. 10 rounds per day.
It's not infinite. I mean, it is infinite in the fact that it doesn't leave the sword ever, unless it's destroyed or whatever. But you only use it one. You can only use it.
But I believe in that version of that game. If Joe uses it, he ages too. So every time he ages, he ages. So there's that.
1 year.
1 year. So
I think it's 1 year.
But you're right. It is powerful. I won't say it's not. Like I told you, that fits what I said earlier. I kind of don't mind sliding. I mean, that mace could be something. Your cleric, I could see them keeping it most of their career.
Yeah, no, it never runs out of haste, and also never runs out of +1. So, I mean, it doesn't have charge.
It does run out of haste. I mean, if you fight 5 goblins, if you fight goblins for 5 rounds, then you fight an ogre for 5 rounds, and you haste the whole time, it's over. Are you going to go quit and go to sleep? Maybe.
Well, yeah, but it comes back the next day same.
Okay.
So if that's your
level of powerful in your game, it might be an artifact. In our game, it's really good.
It's really good.
Trust me, most of the people weren't like, "Oh my god, I got to have that item," but they're like, "That's really good."
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, I got to throw Joe a bone every now and again, dude.
Yes, you must. Yeah. If you looked at the charges.
Charges would definitely be a milder level of that, sure.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And once the charges are gone, it's just a +1 sword, +1 mace.
That still wouldn't suck for a low-level guy.
No.
If it had 10 charges and you could haste for a round each time, you'd be like, it's limited, but hey, I got 10 rounds, I could be awesome. So, it'd run out.
Right.
And this is to Arnman. Arnman brings something up. One of the questions is who or what makes the magic items? And Arnman brought up having magic items be mostly made by the ancients is a pretty good trope. Yeah, I don't mind that idea at all. That's outside the scope of. I will star that Ultra American. That's a good question. I like that trope. Where now it's. Yeah.
You wouldn't just have the gods just saying, "Here's a +1 sword." I think.
No, that's where you'd have to be a little bit careful because if it's only made by the ancient ones or the deities, are they really just going to poop out 4 or 5 +1 swords? I mean, you could say but it seems like they'd probably be very special. It would probably be, you'd get magic items at a pace that I would probably like. They'd be really rare. They can't be repeated. Though I would also be inclined to go down David Gwill's route, where in his game, potions are alchemical in nature. I would probably let rangers and druids hunt up ingredients in the woods to do healings that are non-magical. I would probably let players make more quasi-magical items.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Monster parts are great.
Yeah, Joe loves that idea.
Yeah.
That's really good. I think
Also,
that's
figuring out which monsters are edible. And at the same time not poisonous.
Joe always wants to
And
eat
you
my
eat it.
He wants to eat my monsters. Help
why
me.
not?
He
They
wants
wouldn't
to eat
eat
my
me.
monsters. That's what he's doing. He's a tit for tat kind of guy. You gonna eat me? You ain't me. I'm eating you. Ogre's trying to eat me. Oh no, I'm eating that ogre. Cut open his spleen.
Well, maybe not ogre.
Right. But
They're
Bulette,
probably
you're not against Bulette at all. You like that.
Probably not.
Well, you had it once. You guys
Yeah.
mixed Bulette steaks. Remember?
Right.
That young Bulette broke into town. You guys said, Joe's like, I'm eating it.
Yeah, I'm I don't know about orcs. If they're humanoid, I'm probably
Yeah, feels icky.
I don't know, myconids.
But isn't L playing in a world where there's no animals, or he has played in it?
I don't know.
Oh, for sure. We'll have to make sure that Mudsword has rules effects for devouring certain monsters. We're going to have to. Mac. What did he say?
Bushmeat.
He's putting his camping gear away. He's ready to roll. Yeah, I don't know. What do the Ultra Americans say? How about magic items that help at a cost? Oh, that's always good. That's always good. I'll help you, but yeah, you can haste, but I'm going to drain a point of constitution every time you do that. Now, you're going to have to make it worth their while, though, or they'll never use it. So haste may not be enough.
I mean, if let's say you had that kind of mechanic where an ability score got drained. Mm-hmm. Now, if it's something that will heal back in a day or two or something like that, that would be worth it. However, if using your magic item abilities permanently drained your stats, that would be very limited use. That's what the charges on there.
What if it permanently drains your hit points, but just one? And you can do a really awesome power. Like haste for 10 rounds, it costs you 1 hit point. Or worse than that, cast Meteor Swarm from a wand, and it costs you 1 hit point.
They would still have limited uses.
Sure, but I mean, at first you'd be like, I'm tempted. Yeah.
It would be really best if that kind of item had a normal use that didn't cost that, and then you could power up by going in a hit point or something. Green
Apple's got a show for you, so you should watch Delicious in Dungeon.
That's probably an anime though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Joe.
I don't know for sure, but it sounds like one.
I like animes like this much, like off the screen.
Yeah.
Joe likes them where you can almost see his hand, but most of the time he's pushing it down because he finds them annoying like I do. But he likes them more than I do. If that's an anime.
Delicious in Dungeon.
Joe's looking up. I don't mind if PCs make magic items. Iron Man. It costs D4 permanent hit points to heal D6.
Oh, yeah. I can just tell by the pictures it's a freaking... No thanks.
It's an anime.
Everything looks effeminate.
Green Apple, you can't get Joe to do anything. He's such a curmudgeon. Thanks for trying, though, bud. I also like the idea that if magic item creation was a forgotten art, allow the players at really high levels to discover some of it. You know what I'm saying? That would be pretty cool. If like you start out.
Discover what?
So imagine magic item creation is this.
Only
the ancients can make, not the gods, but the ancient societies of great power. And then your wizard find a spell book that shows you a recipe that could create a magic item. And it'd be more fun if it was he gets an inspiration from reading and can create his own magic item. Then it'd be like, wow, that would be quite an event. And a player would be like, dude, this one world, I was the only player to ever make a magic item. That'd be pretty cool. I don't know what else.
Right. That sounds really good. I like the idea of. I like that as a potential idea.
Yeah.
I've always liked the idea of wizards making locked. Okay, I was wondering because. Hold on a second. it's a show about being licked in a dungeon, which it's an anime, so I can believe that that's true. But he corrected himself, and he meant locked.
Ugh.
So it was a pretty good typo
I
there.
hate this dungeon. It keeps licking me.
It goes with
I
the
turn, it
theme
licks me.
of the culinary arts.
David Will says, Chicago, why high levels? Let them discover it at low levels, then try to create something can be. Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah.
That's the thing. I agree with David there. It's a theme that you have to wait until practically the end of the game about
Correct. It was
life
like
cycle for something cool like that to happen. Right.
Remember, because we always thought, well, you got to get a permanent. You got to get the permanency spell, and wasn't that 8th level in first edition?
No, permanency is a 5th level spell.
Oh, okay, well, still.
So 9th. So 1 level off. Yeah. 9th level.
9th level. Yeah. Yeah. So it was 8th.
But it's like, so you look at magic items for wizards, because I've played wizards most the time I've played. And so you look at something like the Staff of Power, which is a really powerful item. It's called power. So yeah. When should a wizard acquire something like that? Do you wait until they're double digit levels, 14, 15, 16? Some would say yes, because it's very powerful. But at the same time, someone like me would say,
well, we know that
you get there, the item becomes way less useful.
Correct. In D&D, a Staff of Power is awesome, unless you're 15th or 16th level.
Yeah.
Then it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's nice. It's so nice to have the extra
nice little addition.
You
can do everything in there except maybe you can plane travel. So I mean, it doesn't matter. Darth concurs. He says that let him get it early could lead to a couple of games where the party looks for the parts. I agree, and I like this idea. I always have. Iron Man says, I think having the match user in the party learn to reload charges according to a found tome would work. Yes, I don't like it to be too easy. There were some options early in first or second through Dragon Magazine when they talked about recharging wands, and some were just too easy. Like just fire your magic missile into the wand and it recharges. And I'm like, that's lame. I'm going to spend 12 days firing my magic missile into the wand.
Yeah, because you can just use downtime to just totally recharge it easily. But it's less problematic, I think, during a session, or especially while you're in the dungeon. You're like, you use the charges. All you have to do is use your magic missile. Well, I might need that.
Yeah. Oh, true. And Coraven's right. At times, a lot of times, it's sort of a question of too many magic items depends on how many people in your group. I mean, if I have 9 players at my table, if we're playing a high fantasy game, I probably got to be dropping a couple of magic items every session or two for sure. So everybody gets some.
Right.
It could be a while.
I'm getting support here.
Yeah, I see
David Will says, yes, less useful and might never see play if you don't get to that level.
Very good points. And again, like I gave that guy, 4th level fighter, that +3 Frostbrand, which was, if you guys know it from second, it's powerful. I say, dude, give it to him early. I mean, Joe doesn't believe me, but if I was going to give a Staff of Power away, he'd probably get it around 7th.
Right.
And he would be, because it really would be a Staff of Power. It would be awesome. Yeah. And you'd be like, I can do crap I really shouldn't be able to do. Let's teleport, bitches. So, yeah. Or, Killraven says, yeah, but with that many people, you also don't want anyone with them something like a Staff of Power. Or do you? Maybe you want them all to have a Staff of Power because they're about to fight the Terrask.
And the Staff of Power won't really be...
It won't make any difference
at all. It won't make a bit of difference. Yes. Got to have a jab. You got to have a jab.
I doubt that, El. I doubt if Watsy would agree with much of anything Joe said.
Yeah, I'm the wrong hue for them to agree with me on.
Yeah. Ryan David today, I haven't listened to the Nerd Cognito podcast, but they were talking about the Terrask, and I really wanted to... I was hoping he'd be here tonight. I was going to tell him, dude, he goes, the Terrask is just meant to be motivation. You're not supposed to fight him. I said, wrong.
It has stats. You can fight it.
Right. You are supposed to fight the Terrask, and I'm cool with it. But you better be high level. I did that in 3rd edition. We had a 5 20th level characters went against the Terrask. We had a 3-hour fight.
You could use the Terrask as a motivational thing.
Sure.
Early in your campaign, say maybe not your first session or 3,
Yeah.
but once you get in and you have kind of a feel for what's going on, you have the Terrask show up and utterly destroy one of your favorite places, one of the players' favorite places to go to, and then now they're motivated, and then it disappears, goes over the hill, no one ever sees it again, and then the players are motivated to either track it down or get powerful enough so that they can get revenge or stop it for maybe you have some sort of prophecy or there's a timeline. The Terrask is going to show up in 20 years or something like that after this.
Yeah, Bert's. Sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
Yeah, you get now they have like a timer. In X amount of game years, we must be able to defend against something like this happening again.
I think what Bert was saying in his one time he had a group that was their first adventure was one of the early adventures was trying to evacuate a town because the Terrask was coming, and they knew they were like 5th, 6th level. They're like, we can't fight them. We can't fight him.
Right.
And so we're just trying to figure out escape routes. I do think there was a Dragon magazine adventure during the 3rd edition, either an adventure, no, it was a series of articles about a cult called the Cult of the Beast, and they worshiped the Terrask, and these little cultists would try to seek out a way to wake the Terrask up. What is Ultra American saying? Oh no. Yes, we've heard of that one.
No, I have not. We don't have to go into detail. No, someone made an adventure where you go into that orifice on the Terrask.
Terrask orifice, yeah.
Who says they have one? That's stupid.
It was some Alphabet Mafia museum somewhere in England. Wasn't that it, Ultra American? It was some adventure written to support some Fruit Loopy left-wing nut job museum or something in England or whatever.
Why do they have to make it sexual?
They just do.
It's a freaking Terrask.
Oh, wow. Elle says, Joe, a dragon. Yeah, sure it does. Lives in the Terrask hoo-ha. Yeah. Wow. Oh, my God. Demo says yes. Oh, my God. It was so stupid. Whatever. I mean, whereas with the wheelchair thing, I can say, hey, play that way if you want to. With the Terrask hoo-ha thing, don't play that way. I mean, I'm not going to police you, but just don't. It's stupid and disgusting. Quit it. Oh, that is the adventure. Okay. Elle says you got to fight the dragon in the Terrask vagina. Oh, my God. Is that a bad word on YouTube? Can you say vagina and penis?
There's some stupid things you can't say.
Okay.
Or if you have enough what it is that you have to have enough followers.
No, that's the wrong one. Iron Man. Cloaca.
Cloaca.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so I could see it as a parody, right? A scene or two. Someone just says, hey, let's do something for charity, and this is whatever. If it was a parody.
Oh, Flint. Maybe they thought it was pronounced. Oh, my God. Sorry, you guys. This is pretty bad. Oh, okay. We better quit. Martinson is offended, and we're getting reported.
Yeah. Well, I think we have to have enough of an audience.
No, nobody cares. At 450 people, they don't care.
Oh, hey, hold on.
Oh, wait a minute.
Don't you badmouth our channel like
dominant. We at 500. 500. I got free stuff to give
God.
away if we're at 500.
Let's see. 450. We're at 463. Shut your mouth.
Dude, that is dumb. Oh, boy. I got to read L's. So you really try to snatch the treasure from the dragon. Sees himself out. Oh, my goodness. Oh, they're on fire. These are good. Dare you enter the fallopian of fear? Oh, my God, guys.
You're going way up into those organs.
We're traveling deep.
Deep. That's deep.
That's deep. Whatever, man. Do that weird stuff. Don't do that weird stuff. Stop it. Stop it. Get some help. Have you seen that Michael Jordan little snippet?
Yeah. Get some help.
get some help.
He probably had to do community service for that.
Probably. Oh man. Oh yeah. Thank you. Not to Patrick. Flint said, "Don't forget to hit the thumbs up." Yeah, man. Like this stuff. We talk. You'll never know what we're going to talk about here. How are we going to do magic items and mud sword, dude?
We're going to have to just pick a way that's being done elsewhere, and just play it out a few, iterate over it, until it becomes our own thing. I think we don't have to. I don't think we have to stick to one thing.
I agree.
You can have a set of the artifacts and relics. Those were made by high-powered beings, demigods, gods, whatever.
What am I talking about? Patrick's got it. We don't. That's the best part.
You can have some that are like that. You can have some that are player created. And then some that are just mysterious. Nobody knows where they came from.
Correct.
And nobody can make them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's already going to be kind of semi-related to the divine powers making them. But until they find out, oh, hey, Zeus made this thing.
Right.
But, yeah. And then we're definitely going to have, the kaiju market. Right? We're not going to call it that.
We're going to have to.
But we're going to have the monster meat market, or various body parts. And if you get the right body parts,
stuff.
might even be able to have body parts that do stuff.
Ooh,
that you don't have to, the eyeball of
beholder.
Of a beholder, right? The main the main orb, right? You can get that out in one piece.
Yep.
You can use it for something right away. Maybe it's a crystal ball or something like that.
Oh.
I don't know, Ultra American.
Horse Girl's pretty bad.
I don't know. I think that they're both. I mean, yeah, they're pretty neck and neck in the that's very bad, don't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And Darth said some of the spells needed to make certain items could have been lost to require the skill of an immortal or the like to make. Yeah, if there's a very, very powerful magic item, the player's like, I want to make 4 of those. You can't. I mean, unless, of course, you're Zeus. I mean, if you're Zeus, you can cast this 47th level spell. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to say that maybe you need a spell, but I'm going to just say that all this is like rituals.
Yeah, I think magic items should be more rituals, not just
ritualistic or formulaic.
Yeah.
And then Patrick Demo's about ready to get kicked out of here.
What do I get for the weighing of that?
Kicked out. That's what you get.
I don't think Vecna would have one, technically. He's pretty ancient.
He'd get rotted off.
That appendage would be rotted off.
Yeah, that's all soft tissue that they don't need.
Max is careful. Bat parts, troll meat, you might accidentally create a mythical disease. Crom 19.
Yeah, there you go. You might.
That's an interesting name. Wonder where he got that from.
So I'll decide about the Tarask hoo-ha. If you do kill the Tarask and then you cut it open, you might release a disease because there's stuff. Who knows what's in that?
Yeah, or release a dragon.
Yeah,
that would be kind of. That would be funny. So you fight the Tarask to the death. I mean, you finally kill him. You're like 7 hit points. Tear that dude open. I hope there's like a bunch of +5 shields in there. Rip it open. Out comes like a adult red dragon and stares your party.
I've been trapped in this thing for centuries.
And I'm
Thank
gonna kill
you.
you all.
Now accept my breath weapon into your life. Or death, as it were.
Ultra American. Imagine trying to attune to a magic.
Let's not.
Keeps falling off.
I'm going to have to put R-rated on this thing, guys.
I know. We just gone to adult.
Not suitable for anyone under 25.
Yeah. Cal, don't touch that. You don't know how long it's been in there. That's true. Oh, my goodness.
Elle had to get in on it, too.
Yes. Release the
That
Kraken.
gives Release the Kraken new meaning, although we've all said Release the Kraken that way.
That's a classic one, though. That is so
classic.
good.
It's a good one.
Elle might as well say it. It's a good one.
It's a good one.
Artman brings us back to a point. Some artifacts might have been made with great sacrifices. It could be a good legend in the game. Yeah, and maybe it requires one.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can make that +5 holy Vorpal, right? Of incredible coolness.
Sure.
But it's going to cost you. I mean, and you say, well, I'll give up.
The other thing you can do instead
something else worse.
Make it, you might have to find, let's say there's a legacy item, not the legacy as some games use it, but maybe it's part of someone's inheritance, right? It's some heirloom,
right?
In somebody's family. You have to figure out who had it, and then when you go there and find it in their dusty old tomb, it's inert.
Oh,
you have to wake it up. And maybe it's not woken up with full power. You have to do a series of things. That would be cool too, related to the old ritual that made it.
It's always fun, like to make requirements that they used to talk about to destroy artifacts. You have to capture the laugh of a rabbit. You know, some weird or the sigh of a deer. And you're like, what is that? And so you got to unfold this weird piece of, weird poetry just to be able to figure out what to do. Anyway, probably, yep, the soul of 10 saints.
How about?
Doesn't mean, you don't have to kill them, but you need their souls. So you have to go to the 7 heavens and convince them to be a part of your sword.
Well, that would be fine.
You can't make a paladin go, because a paladin would want the holy Vorpal, right? The holy Vorpal of Antioch.
Right.
But you wouldn't want you got to kill, you got to do evil stuff to get a holy weapon. That'd be weird.
Yeah, it'd be very weird.
Oh, this is true. High enough magic might mean a kingdom is destroyed. Oh, that could just be a side effect that your literature, the book you captured, doesn't tell you about.
Right.
And then your characters have got to fix it. You can create this really cool staff of power, and the magic required to pull out will cause a volcano to erupt, and out will pop the Tarrasque.
And he proceeds to eat the kingdom.
Ultra Americans got it right here. We do need to get the Biggest Geekest to 500 so we can do super chats. I agree with him, and our pocketbooks would agree with him.
You could always, if you really want to give something right now, Ultra American, you can head on over to Rumble. And what is it called over there?
It's called Lonely Time. Nobody's
Lonely Time in Rumble.
No Rumblers.
You can rant. It's a rant over in Rumble.
Yeah, Rumble rant.
But be advised, rant. Rumble takes, I think, a bigger chunk.
Oh.
It's a pretty good chunk of the whatever they give, folks give.
Correct. Dar says convincing souls would be hard, which is what you want. Maybe my soul goes, well, I'll do it if you prove to me that you're worthy. Well, I've done this, and this. I didn't see that. I've been dead for so long. I'd rather see you do this thing that happened 200 years ago when I was alive, and no one's ever done it. You complete that, and I'll jump into your sword. That could be 10 adventures for a high-level paladin.
Oh, boy. That would be tedious.
Elle, he is Elle. I hate to do this, but Elle is right. I really hate saying that. If Randy would make his unboxing videos, we need short form content. And I have recently gotten a bunch of crap, and I need to make a video when I do that. Because people love to know the crap that I buy, and they can tell me, Randy, why did you buy that crap? Because I'm a loser. All right.
A lot of people do that unboxing stuff, and to me, it's kind of...
Some folks like it.
Some folks like it. Like some folks like watching live plays. I prefer being in the live play, which is...
Yep, which this Friday we're going to be. Friday at 7
Friday
o'clock.
We're going to be live with
StreamYard.
With the folks from Horde Wars.
Yeah,
with one of the folk. One folk. DM
Blackwall, Larry Elliott will be in the game. Who else will be in there? Me and Joe.
You and I.
Brian, I don't know his last name, from California, Oklahoma.
Maybe Tim.
And Tim, I think. We hope Tim makes
He's there sometimes.
Tim is sometimes there. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. Maybe not. Maybe that's true.
You got all the names.
I should do unboxing and short form reviews. Those got pretty good hits early on when I did the review of a couple of games. Maybe I'll do some more.
What you should do is spend some of your money on people who hate you, so you can rant about the purchases.
Oh, that would be. I'm going to buy something from who's the guy that does?
I Thirsty Sword Lesbians.
Yeah, so I can rant on that.
Yeah. I had access to Vaesen. Is it Vaesen?
Yeah.
And in it, there's a little blurb on 19th century Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And it says something like, women in 19th century Europe were treated like crap. And, well, you don't have to play that way if you don't want to. You can choose to not have injustice in your game.
I could review Greenhaven now. I have it. I like it. Killraven says, y'all need to try and get a couple of normal... What's a normal video out a week for?
Not live. So just a video.
We do. We really do, because I think people watch that more. The problem is, Joe, you got to show me how... Can I do it so that I don't bug you, that I could just put it up? Could you show me how to put it up on YouTube on our channel?
No.
Joe, see, Joe's smart. He knows better than to give me that kind of power.
You record it like you would for school.
Yeah.
It'd be the same kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be the same kind of format, I'm sure, and then just send it to me. You can do a Dropbox or
Is that how I sent it? Is that how I sent it to you before on Dropbox? I think I did.
Something like that. Any of that.
I need to run a game live too.
And I'll post it.
Flint just says live play the Terras game. Oh, I should. Just not the one with the.
We should do a live play of high level play and show people that it's real.
And it's fun.
Because
we've done it. We played a lot of it.
It can be done without, high level play is broken. You can't do it.
Watch us.
One combat takes 10 hours.
No. My monster to 1,000 damage. You have no chance of surviving. It takes 2 seconds. Arnman says, start the video with hello class. Yeah, that'll bring them right in. Hey, weird guy. Weird guy. You'll be happy to know I backed Heroic. I did got in for the 70 fake dollars, Canadian dollars. So,
Gallery dues.
It's basically a remake of Phase Rip by our Bear, the XGM. So it looked pretty good. And I thought, I like helping out. That's why, I like helping out people that are smaller.
What's the licensing that he had to get for that? Is it just the OGL?
I don't even know if he's doing that. I think it's just kind of like it. I don't think it's exactly like it. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. His take on it.
Yeah, I don't know what backer number I am, but I am getting the updates. I got I don't know if the beta or the gamma, whatever version of it. So. Oh, live play is still live, Elle says, and doesn't help the algorithm. So we got to do recorded videos. I got to get my head out of my butt and do recorded videos because Joe won't do it. No, it's not it. Joe's busy. He's got a lot going on. I need to do it. That should be my job because I got a lot of crap. I can talk nonstop, so that's fair. Oh, okay. You can't copyright rules, so Bear's game is his own thing. He has made a few changes to Marvel to make it. Yeah, he has. I've seen some of it. It is different, and it's good.
Right. So that is what we all say. You can't copyright rules.
But, and you can get the Marvel stuff for free, like at a website that's literally legal to download PDFs.
Right.
So you can get it today.
Here's the thing: you can't use Marvel. There's a lot of things that Marvel will sue over. I think he's saying superhero.
He's not what?
Yeah, I think it's superhero, mutant.
Mutant, maybe. I'd be hard.
That's sure. I think why Eric July had to use weird words for his heroes. He couldn't use supers. He uses different words, and I think they have copyrighted a bunch of normal words that we would use every day, and then
is metahumans? Is metahumans? That's what DC uses. Is metahumans out too? Then
I think so.
I wonder if DC is. I don't know, man. That's whatever. I think he'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. I think he'll do good. So hopefully he'll do well enough to where it's worth it to him. All right, we talked enough about magic items. Lord knows I have. I can't stand them. Let's get rid of all of them. That's it. Classic Marvel Forever is a website that has all the Marvel rulebooks for free. Yes.
Oh, I never heard of that.
That's a legal download too.
That's cool.
So, yeah, I think a couple years ago it just got said, here you go, you can have it. Even though if you want to get the actual box sets, they're hard to find for under $100. Any of the box sets. So, all right.
I'm going to do.
You're going to tell them to do the things.
Yes. I know that everybody in the chat already is subscribed, and if you're not, shame on you. Like and subscribe, share, comment, do all the things you're already doing if you're already doing them. If not, do those things.
Do it. Sweet.
Champions Online getting in trouble with Marvel. Yeah, Marvel is too happy like a lot of the other IP. They have a huge amount of IP, so they feel they got to protect it even from saying certain common use words.
I was like, that sounds like a stretch to get away with the supers thing. I mean, I would be against that, but I understand if they don't want you using Wolverine in your Champions game.
Right.
I mean, not like you're going to sell a module with Wolverine. I get it. It's their dude. They want to make. I don't think that's a horrible thing to be. I mean, if you're making a lot of money off an IP, you should protect it to an extent.
But you'll have a hero called Clawman who will look distinct from Wolverine, but similar enough where everybody gets it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. All right. This last little. You want to start this last one, Joe, or not? You ready?
Let's see here. Are you talking about the next segment?
Yeah, I don't know if you're ready.
Twitter discussion. So
you mean share the
thing.
So a buddy of mine, Lee, goes by Lee on Twitter, and then he posted this, and I thought it was just kind of interesting. Let me see if I can get this picture up for everybody. A lot of people say stuff like this, so I don't know if they can see this. I probably should make that a little larger. I tell you, if I had hands it, is it bigger on the StreamYard too, or not? Do you see it bigger on the StreamYard?
Yeah. So as long as you don't whiz by them really fast and give everybody a broken neck.
Well, I'm just saying that this, and I don't think he's trying to say he's got it perfectly. It was about discussion on Twitter about campaigns, and he posted this, and I was like, I don't know if this is really true. Like it says, campaigns by edition had these average length. Normal length of an AD&D campaign was 25 to 50 years. Normal campaign length for second edition was 1 to 5 years. Third edition, normal campaign unknown. First player still in PC creation will let you know. Oh, come on now. It's a little.
It looks like a joke. Some of these.
And normal OD&D 5 to 50 years. And fourth edition, no one has ever maintained interest long enough. And fifth edition, 5 sessions.
5 sessions. That's the thing everybody's saying now. Campaigns only last 5 sessions.
5 or 6 sessions, and players can eat each other over political differences. But what inspired me was not just that. I thought that was kind of a funny little weird thing.
Right.
But I thought, we've talked about this before a while back, but it's worth to bring up again. And people always ask this. I think this is one of the big questions. What makes a campaign? When I say campaign, I have something in mind, but other people will say campaign, and it means something else.
Right, because it's like when you go to the college and ask 10 college students what is a woman, they'll all give you different answers, and they won't be what a woman actually is.
Right.
If you ask 10 gamers what a campaign is, you're likely to get 10 somewhat different answers, but at least their answers will all be something true to them.
Well, I listed these here, and I have like an adventure. So if you run an adventure from beginning to end, I've heard players say, we just ran a campaign of, what's the shorter one? The Hamlet adventure. They call it the adventure. I'm counting with L a little bit. I would say, well, maybe not. I'm not sure. He's probably meaning more. L says a campaign is a game. See, when I hear game, I imagine one game, one session, sit down and play, but he probably means the full game as long as, I think it has to have a somewhat consistent player roster, preferably a consistent character roster, and probably be a string of adventures over time. Flint says his definition is pretty much that.
So this is from the perspective of the player, not the character.
No.
From the player.
From the player, but I would like to have I would love to see. To me, a campaign is most satisfying if you can keep the starting characters mostly intact through it. I'm not talking story time making exceptions. I just mean if it happens to be that way, it tends to be more satisfying.
So because you
Even
can
you,
have a campaign
mhm.
from the perspective of the characters in one session, if that session, like with a war game, can happen in D&D too.
Yeah,
If your session spans a time long enough for, let's say, an army to go out and do their campaign, or that adventuring party to do many things
hmm
in a theme, go um, beat the dragon Smog. That's a campaign.
yeah.
But
Martin says that the campaign is a complete story arc. I kind of like that. I know everybody hates the story word, but I mean like like one of the most. I still bring this up quite a bit. One of the most satisfying campaigns I ever ran in recent memory was the Rippers campaign that you played in, Joe, where
mhm,
you fought a witch's coven. The
right,
whole series of adventures you guys played in for about 6 months was trying to handle this witch's coven, and we got from beginning to end. We took a break, never got back to it, but I've still got the notes. I've made a few notes on top of it. I hope to do it one day. But I think you can have a campaign world and setting. Like, who's the guy that claims he's had a campaign running for 45 years and had 50 different players run through it? That sounds like more like a setting, but I'm not going to poo poo that.
right. I mean, if it has a lot of the same elements that are
hmm
recurring, um, maybe a theme or a direction,
hmm
then I could be more on board with it being a campaign.
Yeah. But, even this, L says, same character group, though characters may be replaced over time. Sure. And Iron Man says, characters live in a setting and do adventures as it presents itself. Yeah. I mean, that's a campaign. Campaigns happen in settings. I agree, L. And Weird Guy says something I agree. I mean, these are comfortable enough for me. I could also say a campaign is a multi-session mission to defeat a big bad guy who isn't in every session but is defeated in the last one. That feels like a campaign when you've
Right.
beaten the Lich and
So
you've started at a certain point and had to work your way to defeat him.
when you talk about a campaign, it has an implied ending,
It
right?
tends to, for me.
Right. Right. So this is the idea. So a campaign isn't an ongoing forever thing.
Right.
It's this is the campaign of the summer of AD 129, whatever. Right.
hmm
This is what we
Right.
did. Right.
War campaign. Yeah.
Right. So the idea is it has an end, and with D&D, for me, I always thought of there being no end.
Right. We had that
Right.
a lot. We did for
Right.
years. There was
Yeah.
what we call it. Like DMs would say, like I would say, it's my campaign.
Right. So,
L,
but
L
you
asked a
could
good.
marry the two together and
hmm
just say the players go on many campaigns together. You don't have to only have one campaign.
Yeah. Larry Elliott says, Randy, do you need to go see a doctor? You have agreed with L at least twice tonight. Yeah, probably I'm not feeling very well. Um, hex crawls were campaigns. Um, nah, I'm
I
not
didn't say
sure.
defined end. I said implied.
Implied, yeah. Yeah, implied's a
So
different
a
thing.
hex crawl, I can imagine a foray into the wilderness being considered a campaign, right?
hmm
You're we don't know what's over there,
Yep.
but there's weird stuff coming from there. We need to go into the wilderness and explore this area, hex crawl, and it can be a campaign. But there's an implication for an ending because you're going to have to come back at some point,
Right.
right?
That leg of the
And
campaign is
yeah,
over.
that leg, it might have multiple iterations over time, but you got to come back and report to the king. You got to come back and resupply. Half the party's dead. Maybe you got to get new members. So there is some kind of cycle in a hex crawl normally.
Yep.
Now, you might be able to have a hex crawl that you never go back to the instantiation point,
hmm
but that would be an unusual campaign, I think.
Max says, Thompson, Lord of the Rings was a campaign with a bunch of mini campaigns inside of it. Quest, yeah. L says, talking to Darth, Giants to Drow. He's talking about the adventure module. 7 campaigns or 1. I don't know if it's 7, but it's multiple. It leads through. I mean, you can run against the Giants. And you can say, yeah, looks like the Drow are up to something. We're not down for it.
Right.
We killed all the Giants. We did what we were supposed to do. We finished our Giants campaign.
Right.
The campaign to destroy the Giants or push them back to the mountains.
Then you have some clues at the end of that leads to a different campaign. You might have to go back to the king and let him know what you've done and resupply. Maybe replace a party member that got ate by a giant.
And there used to be a lot of back in the day. I think they probably still do it. DMs will say in my campaign, or we'd say in my campaign world.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Doors are really complicated. Remember that?
Yeah.
You had a guy that says doors are really complex or something. I'm like, oh my god.
Got to roll a natural 20 on the die to get into your dang house because your doors are so complicated.
My doors are difficult. I think Paizo's Adventure Paths were full-on long-term campaigns.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of times we use levels these days. I mean, ever since even early edition, campaign level 1 to 15. A lot of Paizo's Adventure Paths were a 1 to 15 level campaign. 6 big, thick booklets. I have a whole bunch of them. I have like the first 20 of them. And yeah, there's some interconnected stories within those or mini campaigns.
Yeah, the idea,
a thread weaving in and out of that.
What's good about the concept of a campaign is how you can organize your thoughts about as a DM, as how you're going to do things, or how you think about what's going on. You might have multiple groups playing, and you can say this is this particular campaign, and that is that particular campaign. However, once you sit down to play, these concepts of what a campaign is and what does it constitute are kind of irrelevant, because once you're sitting down and playing, you're doing what you're doing at the moment, and unless you can think of something that it being a campaign matters in some way, which I can't really think of right now.
Yeah.
But it's a way to organize things.
I know we always thought of
categorize things.
Yeah. I always thought of campaigns connected to, like, I always thought it was odd. Like if we played a group of characters, 5 or 6 characters, and the same players for 2 or 3 years. And then when you do this, you keep your characters, but then 2 or 3 players will move away or do something else and bring 2 or 3 new players in. The old players will want to keep their same old characters. So you're continuing, but that felt like a new campaign, but you could say it's a new direction for the campaign. Elle brings up the comment of world, setting, and campaign. Now we're getting into I agree, there's a world. Setting is where you place your campaign, and your campaign is the adventures that you and your group does.
So you string together. Yeah.
That you string together.
World and setting can be the same thing, though, especially if there is only one world.
Well, or if there can be multiple settings in your world, right? There could be a Karatur, there could be a Mastika, different settings with slightly different rules.
Those are, you can consider them each a different setting, but if they're all under the same umbrella, they can just be different regions. You can call this village a setting as opposed to this city over here as a setting as well.
I guess to pause on how, if you want to be particular, you could say it's the world of Oerth and the Greyhawk campaign setting, but even that's pretty broad, so I don't know. I think campaigns, should generally last a while. I mean, to me, if you feel like it's got to be, could it happen 5 to 6 sessions? Yeah, it could. That's more of a mini one. It's more of a glorified adventure.
Especially these days when sessions don't last that long.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah, I wish we could rectify that. I really do. Yeah, I think we've hit all those. I just thought it was funny that they brought in those ideas of different editions having different links.
That's a joke picture.
Yeah, it is. I don't think that's the case. Though you might say that you can make some. I see some of where they're getting that from.
You can tell that the older versions of the game have longer campaigns. There's longer. There's the campaigns have more durability, and it's obvious. And whoever made this joke up kind of recognizes that over time, the campaign length or session length or adventure length, whatever you want to call it, shortens, and it's kind of actually been true for a lot of people.
Yeah. Cal says when the tourists leave, it will all change. Possibly. I just like to have more time for a session. I like for my sessions to be longer, but I know I get tired quicker too. So
I think Cal has when the tourists leave, it will change. I'm not sure how long that's going to take.
yeah,
As long as it's super popular, relatively speaking, there will be tourists.
and I think sixth edition is going to be popular. I do. I think because it's going to be on the computer. Now it's going to be a different set of players.
If
I
it
think
somehow falls out of the pop culture zeitgeist,
right, it will. It's probably already starting to wane.
then there's gonna be a change. But as long as it's there, there's gonna be more people. More people means more tourists. I don't ascribe to the axiom about, I don't know if you call it an axiom. People will say stuff like, um, how does it go? When rising tides lift all boats.
Right.
However, having more people in the hobby doesn't necessarily constitute a rising tide. It can just be, we're this big and this deep before popularity came along, but now we're this big, but we may only still be this deep.
Yeah, I mean, there's no. I think you can make an argument that it can't. I think during the third edition era is where I heard that more than any other time.
Yeah.
And there it might have been true because there were so many D20 games. I think sixth edition, from what I've seen, is probably going to make it so that you have sixth edition, you have D&D players, and then everybody else, and the D&D, and there won't be as much of an overlap in the Venn diagram as there used to be. So it'll feel like the hobby's smaller, and D&D success will not help other people because they're trying to make it a walled garden. That's what they're doing, and so, if they do that, then it's not going to help anybody. I don't see how it can. Kill River makes a good point. I want to get this in. Campaigns happen within a setting. A campaign is made of a string of adventures within that setting. I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's general enough that most everybody will be on board.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I'm fine with that. I mean, I actually have a feeling that D&D, the direction it's going, is going to turn them into something other than a TTRPG. They'll still call themselves that, but everybody will be clacking at their keyboards and playing, and it'll be slightly off. And we'll be a much smaller hobby and probably better for it.
The good thing is their playing doesn't affect our playing.
I think it's going to be more true in this next edition because
Yeah.
they are separating themselves from everybody else, and
well, I mean,
maybe it'll work for them.
Nobody's gameplay at their individual table affects other people's gameplay at other tables unless they are friendly with each other and talk about how they play and influence each other that kind of way. But I know that there is some overall influence that we can pick up from other people, and we'll try things and we'll a lot of times say, yeah, I didn't like that. Or after a time, I'm kind of tired of that. Like 13th Age, the 13th Age way of balancing everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a quick to play game and it's some fun, but it's kind of gotten stale to me over time because of its
predictability.
Its balance they took balance and ran with it, and I don't think it was bad for the game.
Cal makes a point that might be interesting. He says he thinks they're going to lose with 6E. Look, I hope you're right, dude. Will they lose? I'm not sure they're going to lose money, but they might lose a bunch of people that care. The real question will be, this will make this is where Cal will be right. If the tourists say, I'm done with D&D, I'm not interested in D&D, and they bounce, and the hobby's popularity drops, I don't know if there'll be enough people left to fill up those clackety-clack subscriptions.
It would be a good use of the OSR moniker to call all of us who aren't interested in anything that Wizards of the Coast or Paizo or any of the associated left-wing super activist kind of folks are doing in the hobby space. Mm-hmm. And it's just, we do our thing, and that's kind of what's going on now.
Yeah.
We do our thing, they do their thing, And there's some murky people who don't really
Dabble.
care about the divide, and they just do their own thing and don't care. And I'm pretty much I don't care about what all of these activist types are doing with the hobby because it doesn't affect me. So I try not to pay attention.
Elle asked Randy. I think he meant Joe and Randy. Did you miss the
No, no,
latest?
no. He's calling you a hoe
No, he's calling you a hoe.
and a
Oh,
garden hoe.
oh,
That's how you spell garden. A
he
garden.
qualifies. He meant Joe the hoe. And did you miss the latest D&D survey? I knew it was there. I heard about it. There was an option to vote. I hate WotC. Good. I hope a lot of people took that option. I just stepped. I used to be into that. I used to like fill their surveys out. Even during the 4th edition era, I would answer it hoping that 5th edition would be better. But you know what? That company, I don't care what they do. They're not going to care if a bunch of people say they hate them. They're not
Right.
going to care. Oh, because they're going to be just like Disney. Oh, it's the fans' fault that our movies suck.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all a bunch of ists and phobes. So
Can't take
whatever, man.
criticism.
Yeah, no.
If you are critical,
because we're all bigots, man. That's why.
Yeah,
Just ask
but
them.
if
Just
you-
ask them.
if
They'll
you-
tell you.
right, if their criticism doesn't involve Wizards of the Coast being istophobes themselves,
Right.
I mean they'll okay, we're sorry we did that and we'll correct it.
And
So
what they don't realize is they're going to trim all of us out of there, and all they're going to have are the blue hairs. And you know what they do? They eventually eat their own.
yeah,
And WotC's already experienced that. You would think some bean counter would step back and look. Not a bean counter, a guy that's got serious investment in the company
mhm.
would step back and look and go, man, we can't please these guys ever. They want us to change every stinking thing. How stupid is this?
But a lot of those people are on board too.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
because HR hires people that will agree with them.
Yeah.
So
True.
we can't count on that. We
No, man.
have to really stop thinking of folks in our hobby as a monolith, as a one big community. That's the problem with the left wingers, and they'll present as a unified monolithic community when they're always eating their own and throwing out the people who don't line up with the current theology that they propagate. Where we never cared back in the day. We didn't call ourselves a community. We were all hobbyists. We considered it a hobby and a game we liked. And the idea that we all had to think a particular way or even play the same way was just a ludicrous position. We all played the games and we all played a particular way. We would kind of snicker at weird stuff, but
Yep.
we didn't really care.
Yep.
We didn't segregate. We didn't care what you looked like. If you had bad, hygiene or were disruptive at the table, then that's one thing. But other than that, it didn't matter.
I think Kilraven's got it. They are trying to please the organization that push support DEI and ESG. I'm adding ESG more than any other group of people. Yeah, that's what they're doing, and they will reap what they sow.
Yeah.
So
At some point, it's not.
and that's
it's not
what I think. That's what I think Cal's saying, and I do hope Cal's right. I just feel like initially, because D&D always has good sales initially, but I think it might get back in there. But someone, I think it was Elle, had asked me about Daggerheart. I've heard Daggerheart's getting ripped, that it's a horrible game from what they've released. And I was going to say, unless something like Critical Role can compete with them, which I'm thinking in the end,
Isn't Daggerheart Critical Role's thing?
Yes, and I think it's going to be trash. And I think MCDM's game is going to be trash. I mean, it's just going to be 4th edition. I mean, who cares? And a dumber version of 4th edition, if you can imagine that, where you don't have to roll to hit. You just hit and do damage all the time.
Darty, don't get me started on Homeland Security either. Yeah, Homeland Scrutiny is what you should call them, not security.
Yeah, I hope you're right, weird guy. He says, I think the whole OGL debacle was driven by Hasbro overlords. Hasbro isn't making money, so they squeezed D&D and went too far. I hope so. Hope it's trash. Martinson said he's looked at Daggerheart and it's trash. I've got he watched an actual play. Yeah, it's just, but it won't matter to the critters. They just want to see him act. And I'm not blaming Critical Role.
So
Make
Critical
your
Role,
money, dude. Do it.
they've got a YouTuber trend going on where those guys,
Yeah.
MCDM RPG, whatever that's called, did he come up with a name yet? Matt
MC,
Colville's
not
thing,
that I know. Matt Colville's game. I don't know.
and then there might be one other one, but those two especially. Oh, they're dropping the to hit roll. It's no fun when you miss.
Yep.
You just roll for damage,
Oh, Iron
and
Man.
then so there's a ton of, huh?
Iron Man saying always doing damage every hit will ruin the risk of casting a spell and hoping you don't get hit to interrupt. Yeah, here's the deal. It won't happen. You'll never get interrupted because that won't happen. You won't get hit, but you'll always hit.
Right. So I think that, but there's a whole trend on. That's why I was like this hit point thing a couple episodes ago. There's the no hit points. There's the no attack roll. Pretty soon there's not going to be no saving throws. We're just not going to have a game here. We're just going to tell stories around the table. It's really
Mac,
weird.
we will, buddy. Joe probably will not drink a beer, but I will. I'll have a beer with you for sure. Even though I'm gluten intolerant, I'll have a very gluten-y, tasty beer. We
All
will
of you
do that, sir.
that are listening that are beer drinkers. Some of you know that I'm not one because I hate the way it tastes. And then some of you are going to say, because I've heard it a couple times, how can you say you don't like beer? There's so many different beers. And I'm going to say they all are beer, and they all have a common thread on what a beer taste is. Unless you're talking perhaps about IPAs and small shop, whatever they call those. Those may be IPAs, where it's a very small brewery that has a really weird process, but they're still beer.
We'll make Joe go with us, Mac, and he'll have a Mountain Dew like a little girl.
I will give you a $20 bill.
All right, Joe's paying for the beer.
A beer for people who hate beer. That the people who hate beer likes this type of beer.
Yeah. I'm not much of a drinker, but I do like a good beer. Let me rephrase that. I like a good wuss beer. When I was in Germany for a while, a few years ago, went to a conference, I got introduced to, I think it just means white beer. It's called Weiss beer. I think it's white. And it was fabulous. I just went to a bar and it was just so good. Yeah.
I don't like wine either.
No, Joe. I'm generally not a drinker either, but we will.
A lot of it's bitter. I'm not into bitter. Bitter
for the
is
Mac
really
Daddy, I will drink a beer. We'll hang out.
It has,
we'll shoot the breeze.
There's some sweet and sour things that I like, but if it's just bitter, like coffee, I don't like coffee either. Or tea, it all has the bitter notes that I can't really do.
Randy drinks Bud Light. Well, I don't drink Bud Light, but I do like weak sauce beer. I don't like it too strong. I don't like IPAs. Those are hard to handle. Joe would probably like that, Mac. Hard Mike's Black Cherry?
It might. There's a couple of the sweeter things that I like that you can't really tell it's alcoholic, but it is, and maybe super alcoholic, but it goes down so smooth and it has a nice sweet flavor to it. And I'm like, well, I can't drink that because I'll drink a gallon of it and kill myself probably.
This is Weird Guy made a point that I think he's right about, and I'm just not gonna read the whole thing. This is more from Flint. He says he loves all the YouTube clickbait videos about Daggerheart and MCDM D&D killers. No, they're not. I'm not sure if there's such a thing. I think D&D will kill itself. I actually believe that if Pathfinder could not put D&D out of the game, nothing can but D&D. Pathfinder came the closest. Maybe no. People want to say maybe Vampire back in the 90s, but I think that was TSR screwing the deal.
Okay, so Cal says, Joe, can you eat spicy food? Yes, but just mild stuff. Randy's shaking his head no, but spicy food to Randy is stuff that I can't, if I ate it, there would be no other flavor in it, and I wouldn't be able to eat for a couple of hours.
Joe can eat a little bit of black pepper on something if you don't put too much on there.
Yeah, but I like food that is spicy, flavorful spicy, but not hot. Yeah. I like spicy food, I like flavors, but hot, no. But then he says this, you may have the sensitivity to taste. I can actually taste things.
Joe actually can. I'm one of the reasons I can eat hot stuff is my taste buds are poop. They are not good.
It's just people, how people are different. And if it's bitter, I just have a hard time with it. Super taster. I don't know if I'm a super taster. I don't think so. But
Joe and my wife both, they have ways to they taste, they'll bite into food and they're like, I can taste the paprika, or I can taste this. And I'm like, I can taste good or it tastes bad. That's all I can tell you. Let's see. Weird Guy says, Pathfinder is just a version of D&D. Fair, 3.75. It has to be a very different game to me. Star Wars or Savage Worlds are different games. For it to be I don't think there's ever going to be a D&D killer.
Yeah, and I can't see those two, the Colville or the other one being a D&D killer, because they're going to be targeted at people who don't really play D&D.
I dip my tacos in magma. Magma. How weak. Hot peppers, yeah. I like I said, I can do ghost pepper.
I like banana peppers.
Yeah.
Banana peppers on the sandwich are really good.
They are.
But they're more like pickles. They're not.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I like pickled jalapenos over fresh jalapenos. But I do like habanero quite a bit. So, hot, spicy. All right. I think we've done that, and we've beat up on Dagger Butt and MCDM dumbness.
Yeah. So we beat that campaign thing into the dirt, I believe. I think unless we use somewhat loose terms, we're going to get into arguments about.
We're
so
splitting
we might as well be
hairs.
a little bit loose.
Yeah, Flint. One thing, Flint says Ian World used to do stats. Who was playing what? Pathfinder was way behind 5e. Yes, I run on start playing in 5e games versus everything else is 25-1. Yeah, I'm thinking more back in the 4th edition era, when Pathfinder surpassed 4E D&D as the number one game for a short bit, a couple of quarters. But you're right. I mean, D&D's pretty much always been the top dog.
They have the brand recognition. It's a juggernaut, and there's not really anything you can do to kill it outside the company itself, because that's what nearly killed it before.
Yeah.
Between 2nd edition and 3rd edition,
yes,
it nearly tanked, but they ended up being able to sell it to Wizards of the Coast.
Watsy jumped in because they had all the big money from Magic the Gathering. I mean, even if D&D tanked, who has the money to buy them? But let's get off that topic. It's a huge topic. All right. Shall we? I'll tell them about Big Geek Con 2, I guess, is coming up, right?
Right. Hey, I want to ask Ultra American question here. So Ultra American says, glad I joined live this time. Thanks for joining us.
Us too, man.
I've had to listen to Spotify the last few times due to being busy. So how is the audio, if you can comment about this before we log out, how is the audio out there in podcast land?
Yeah,
I'd like to know. The last couple, I forgot to run it through Audacity, and it was too late. I guess I can redo it, but it's a pain. But if you could tell me how the audio sounded there, if it sounded fine, then I may not even need to use Audacity.
Cool.
All right, so I think we have done that, and we should rock on to Big Geek Land. Not much to report except the ongoing. Okay. I mean, be able to skip a step then. Anyway, Big Geek Con 2 is still coming up. I made a couple of posts today.
Yes, you did. I reposted.
Yeah. Big Geek Con 2, September 20th through 22nd, $30, 3 days. Great deal if you can make it. Children are welcome, but you need to watch your own kids.
Got to watch your own kids. We are not babysitters.
I believe I have already put a link up in the video's description, along with our other links in our various places on the web.
If you leave your kids alone in the hall, I may just grab your kid, put him at a table, and play a game with no magic items. And he'll say, Daddy, I can't believe he did that.
You will make it the norm.
I'll make it the norm. And then your son will be like, Dad, I can't believe you give magic items away. Randy would never do that. Children will be eaten by the terrace. No. We love the kiddies. Bring them on, man. I want them to play, but I just want them to be watched. Kids without parents will be encouraged to run the halls.
That's the best way to get us kicked out of the hotel.
Singing, no more magic items. No more magic items.
Yep. You should make a t-shirt.
Levels are for the weak. Levels are for the weak.
0 level, no magic items. You use a
All-
spoon.
Use a spoon doing a
Yeah.
D1 damage.
And you only have your tidy whities on,
Correct.
not even shoes.
No.
All right. Anything else you wanted to add before we get out of here?
Ultra American. Oh my God. No.
No, we're not going to. No.
No,
Yes,
I got nothing, man. Flynn's speaking my language, though. A little bit of the tick there.
Spoon. Yeah, did you know that there were a couple of episodes of the cartoon that were not released in the U.S.?
What?
In the third, I think it was in the 3rd season, something like that. There's like 2.
I need to buy those cartoons and own them.
Yeah.
They're fabulous.
I have the 1st season,
Do you?
but I was looking for the other 2, and it was hard to get the 3rd season. But then they, last year or the year before, they finally released all 3 seasons on one package. Fully, all the episodes.
You ever read a comic book? You ever read the Tick comic? The Tick comic?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
That's a little stranger than the cartoons. I'm not sure I like it. I have to read a couple more to know, but I've read one.
Well, the cartoon show was pretty campy.
Yes.
But I wouldn't say it was too strange. It was just.
No, I'm saying the comic book was.
Yeah.
Strange,
So,
yeah.
in what way?
It's been so long.
More surreal?
I thought it was trying to be a little too. I thought it was actually trying to be serious, and I was like, that doesn't seem to fit.
No.
But I could be wrong. Maybe I was just not in the know. Could have been an old dude not getting the jokes. Anyway.
Right. Well,
so
that we're going to just holler spoon.
Yes.
And I don't think I have anything left to add. So with that, this is Joe.
And I'm Randy.
And remember, if you can't be big like us, then be geeks like us.